Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning,
oh my God, I didn't see that coming.
Good morning, Ruben Abati. Good morning, Rufai.
But Mr. Efeni said I shouldn't call you that on TV, so it's Dr. Abati.
Good morning, Mr.
Now, let's start with this day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story: 3 PDP governors negotiate with APC as others reassure party. Secondus: transparent election not feasible without electoral amendment. Yes, there are other angles to the defection story. The New Telegraph newspaper, yes, defection. Our fortunes in Southeast intact, says PDP. Umai: Southeast will collapse into APC. Governor: I am free from dictatorship. Tambua: governors will stabilize PDP. Otom: I won't return to APC. Yes, the defection of David Umai is still very much in the air. Yesterday, there was a formal party to welcome him into the fold of the All Progressive Congress. And he said so many things, including that Ebonyi is now 99% APC. But I wonder if all the senators from the state, all the House of Rep members are saying they are still proud card-carrying members of the PDP. I don't know what the governor is saying. Because recall, when a certain Godswill Akpabio made what he called uncommon defection to the APC, it was as if, as the godfather of Akwa Ibom politics, as at that time, APC had wrapped up Akwa Ibom into its coffers. But as we later saw, Akpabio could only win 2 local governments out of 10 in a senatorial duel, that he was confined to 2 local governments, one is in his home local government and another. So things need to unfold for us to know the value of this defection. But like I said yesterday, if there is one thing Dave Umai has achieved today, is that the issue of Igbo presidency has been taken into the APC fold also. So APC, that has been very quiet in its calculation about Igbo presidency, will now have to chew and digest the issue of Igbo presidency as other zones in the country within the APC clamor for the presidency. And of course, the PDP that has been blooded with this defection will also know that the issue of Igbo presidency has to be somewhere very close to the front burner, if not in the front burner. What Umai has done tallies with the African proverb that if you are not there where they are roasting the yam, your yam will be very far away from the fire, the heat of the fire. So he has taken his yam into the APC fold. They will have to discuss the Igbo presidency issue in APC. Otherwise, his movement would have been in vain, because he said he's sacrificing himself for Igbo interest. Now, we move to other stories in the Nigerian newspapers today. Vanguard newspaper: Lekki shootings, outrage as federal government threatens to sanction CNN. NBA, senior advocates of Nigeria, civil society organizations flay government. We stand by our report. CNN says DJ Swish not wanted, but no law stops federal government from probing anyone in Nigeria. Adds, we will regulate, not shut down social media. Now, that same story occupying the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Federal government, CNN, trade wars over Lekki shootings. Purveyors of fake news deceived the world. Lai Mohammed says we will certainly regulate social media. We stand by our story. CNN insists proposed regulation horrendous. Lawyer. While the Daily Sun newspaper also reporting that story, NSAS. Federal government, CNN fight over Lekki tollgate killings. No protester died, Lai Mohammed. We stand by our report, cable network. Well, the Daily Independent and SARS, no going back on social media regulation, federal government. Says, call for sanctions against Nigeria, irresponsible. Urges sanctions against CNN over irresponsible reports. Irresponsible quote. Declared 57 civilians, 37 policemen, 6 soldiers killed, 196 policemen injured, 164 police vehicles destroyed, 134 police stations razed, 81 government warehouses looted. We stand by our story, our reports. Soldiers shot at protesters, CNN. Now, that story, the report by the CNN, like I said yesterday, you will need an independent ballistic expert to wade into this issue. Because when the Army officer, Brigadier General Ibrahim Taiwo, made his presentation last Saturday at the panel in Lagos, well, he was just one expert, according to him, but every other person seemed to be a novice in the matter of bullets and ballistics. And he even joked at the time, I will bring the blank bullet and try it on one of you. But I think we need an independent ballistic expert to wade into this matter, to get to the roots of it, to get to the truth. Because the same video which the government called unconfirmed, unverified, is what the military used to prove its point that, oh, we shot into the air. The same video was further analyzed by the CNN, where they showed shooting into the air as well as shooting into the crowd. So, it is not as simple as Lai Mohammed makes it look, because short of just calling the report fake, you need to also provide counter view that indeed you can fault some of the positions they made based on their own investigation using tools that are there available for all who want to do serious investigative journalism. Now, if we just look at the Leadership newspaper, Leadership on Friday, Nigerian Police Force State Consolidates Community Policing. Yes, grassroots police officers commence work in 36 states, 774 local governments. Federal government to redeploy 9,694 constables to villages. Benue, Delta, Taraba screen applicants, acquire equipment. So some work being done there to get policing to the grassroots. Yes, it's something that we need to do very quickly because of the widespread insecurity in the country right now. If we look at the foreign newspapers, we go to the UK, where we start with the Financial Times. Brexit deadline tightens as COVID forces talks online. Yes, EU delegate contrasts coronavirus. Finance group raise trading fears. Yes, Brexit talks now to be done online because a member of the EU delegation contracted the coronavirus, and of course, there is also pressure on this tight deadline as January 1 approaches, with finance groups saying that there's likely to be potential disruption by January 1 if talks are not concluded. While the Daily Express newspaper, Boris battled to save Christmas. Yes, that trade-off, 5 days to enjoy Christmas, but there will be 25 days of lockdown in January in return. Some experts are not agreeing with the Prime Minister, but Christmas seems to mean so much to the British citizens, and hence that trade-off being put in place. But above that headline, the Queen and Prince Philip Yes. Is it really 73 years, Phillips? Yes. Happy wedding anniversary. 73 years wedding anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Prince Philip has since retired from public service, but the Queen is trudging on, committing herself to serving her country. Well, she still has the strength, so she should continue. While the Daily Mail newspaper pay blow for $5 million to fill COVID black hole. Yes, unless you are a doctor or a nurse, you will take pay cut in order to balance the books in the UK. And that is coming. And of course, you see that photograph again of the the Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And they're admiring what a card Prince Philip's joy at great grandkids homemade tribute to 73 years of marriage. Happy wedding anniversary to the Queen and Prince Philip. Tundu, I know you want to kick off there.
You know I do. You know I love her. I love the Queen. I think she's just a bastion of moral rectitude. I mean, how many people have lived their whole life in the public glare and really never put a foot wrong? She's amazing. So congratulations to Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And she is going to soldier on to the end. That woman is duty personified. But coming to our Nigerian headlines now, we were talking yesterday about Governor Dave Umahi. I'm not going to say the nickname Rufai coined on international television, but we're talking about the fact that he claims that he did this to just be a sacrificial lamb. And you and I agreed, Mr. Efeni, that's hardly likely, is it? But I do appreciate what he has done. He's really ratcheted up that conversation about the Igbo presidency. I asked Mr. Ologwajian when he was our guest this week about whether or not PDP was being too reactive as opposed to being proactive. And it appears that in some minds, the answer is yes. If PDP had come to a firm position at this stage about zoning the presidency to the southeast, this will not be happening.
Well, Efeni,
yes.
First, let's congratulate the Queen and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, to stay together for 73 years.
Amazing feat.
It's a lesson in love, friendship, romance, endurance, and solidarity. And I think that should send a very strong signal to the younger generation. And I mean, Prince Philip has been very supportive, and the Queen has been the queen of the people. And I think that's why she's inspired to continue to trudge on. Well, I don't want to say, unfortunately, the ceremony today is an anniversary, a lockdown anniversary. So the children and the grandchildren are not likely to be there.
And great-grandchildren.
And the great-grandchildren will not be there to have the usual party. But it's good to see, you know, the monarch, the Queen, and her husband, you know, inspiring not just people in England, but across the Commonwealth. And, you know, setting very good examples in duty, commitment, and love for the rest of the world. But I would have loved to have your views on this face-off, if you may call it that. You reported the story, but what are your views on what the government of Nigeria has said through Alhaji Lai Mohammed with regard to the CNN report? You said, yes, the government should provide a counter evidence, but is the Nigerian government in a position to sanction CNN?
Ruben, I think you did a great job earlier, because I was about throwing it to you that as a veteran of Aso Villa, in matters like this.
By the way, today is President Jonathan's birthday, November 20th.
Okay.
So happy birthday, shout out also to President Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay, yes. And at times like this, when he said he would sanction CNN, I was wondering, who is going to do it? Will he order the NBC to do it? But I think Alhaji Lai Mohammed seemed to be overreaching himself on that. And you should know that an organization that is insisting that we stand by a story must have done their homework. And if you have a counter proof, you put it there before the public. The CNN made effort to get the government input. the Army input, the Lagos State input, they all blanked out like blank bullets. But the report has to be made, and they have produced their report. Now the government is reacting, threatening fire without brimstone.
Okay.
I don't know how far that will go.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel Efeni. But remember that Alhaji Lai Mohammed insists that that was a massacre without bodies and a hoax. Okay, thank you.